This picture shows a dad changing a really stinky diaper. It was taken in the United States during the 1960s. This incredible photo was taken in 1945. It shows a bunch of boys hanging onto a completely full train after the liberation of Holland. This photo shows a truly heartbreaking story. It's of Keith Sapsford, who was just 14 years old when he did something incredibly desperate. He snuck onto an airliner and tragically fell out of the wheel well. He plummeted to his death on February 22, 1970. Here's a photo of a nuclear detonation test. This image was captured at 3 millionths of a second. It's from the 1950s. Here's a photo of Pauline Musters, the shortest woman ever to live. Here's a photo of Adolf Hitler, acting as best man at the wedding of Joseph Goebbels. Here's a photo of Calamity Jane taken in the 1880s. Here's a photo of a Royal Navy stoker who'd served for 21 years. He was nicknamed Popeye, and this picture was taken on board the HMS Rodney in September of 1940. This photo shows a knife thrower and a child, probably taken sometime in the 1940s. Here's a photo of a mother and child, just a typical day, back in San Francisco in 1952. It's by Dorothea Lange. Here are some creative Halloween costumes. This was taken in the USA at the 50th Halloween celebration. Smoosh, and this one's from 1937. This is an outdoor alligator farm somewhere in California back in the 1920s. Here's a photo of 2,800-year-old lovers. Here's a photo of a young Marilyn Monroe posing as a pin-up girl. She's working with Earl Moran, and this shot was taken back in 1947. Alright, check this out. This photo shows someone riding a rocket scooter way back in 1931. Alright, check out this seriously creepy Halloween costume. Alright, check out this photo. We've got a woman just beaming and clearly having a good time taking pictures. Looks like it was taken way back in the late 1800s. You know, a time when photography was still pretty new and exciting. Here's a photo from 1942. It shows women painting their legs. The idea was to make it look like they were wearing stockings, which was a pretty clever trick. Here's a picture of a girl and her doll. Here's a photo of a US Marine in the Pacific Islands. It looks like he's posing for the camera. The photo was taken sometime between 1941 and 1945. Here's a shot of a guy at the bar with his furry pal. It's from 1937. Here's what we're seeing, a day nursery in the East End of London, and during an air raid, the children are sheltering in a linen cupboard. Here's a photo of Vincent van Gogh. This one was taken in 1873. Here's a shot from way back in the Australian outback. It's a photo from 1932, and it shows a real plague of locusts. Crazy. Here's a shot from the late 60s. Looks like someone's enjoying a barefoot bike ride. Here's the first ever photograph of a tornado taken near Garnett, Kansas. This one was snapped on April 26, 1884. Check out this adorable photo of Tibby the cat. All the way back in the 1920s, he's just chilling out listening to the radio. What a cool cat. Okay, here we go. This photo is of a paperboy. Looks like a classic scene, doesn't it? It's a shot of battling Nelson. This is Oscar battling Nelson, the Danish lightweight champion back in the 1920s. Here's a picture of the Carlson sisters, also known as the Wrestling Fat Girls. Back in around 1925, they'd put on a boxing match for paying customers. Here's a photo from World War II. It shows an aircraft crash happening right on board something, maybe a ship. Love came to me, and I was not afraid to marry the man I love because of his colour, Helen Pitts Douglas. Here's a photo of young Hollywood marrieds Louis Hayward and Ida Lupino. This was taken back in 1939. Alright, here's a cool old photo. It shows a police dog on duty sitting in a sidecar, and this picture was taken way back in the 1930s. Here's how NBC filmed its TV title card for the 1948 elections. Check out this cool icebox facial. This shot's from 1966, showing a beauty treatment that uses ice. Pretty interesting, right? Here's a look at Chetak helicopters. These were used by the Indian Air Force for ceremonial flyovers back in the 1970s. Here's a photo from 1944 showing a group of sorority sisters at the University of Texas. In early December of 1952, Here's a shot of Salvador Hector Sarita, a little 6-year-old motorcyclist. This picture was taken in Buenos Aires way back in 1936. Here's a charming picture of a Bavarian boy enjoying his camera back in the year 1910. Here's a photo of a young Jimmy Carter. He's working as a nuclear engineer in the US Navy back in 1948. This powerful photo shows a man pleading for his wife's forgiveness. The scene is inside a divorce court, and you can feel the emotion just pouring off of it. This was all happening in Chicago back in 1946. Here's a photo from the 1930s. Looks like we have a kitty taking a nap. So sweet. Alright, check this out. This photo shows a prospector back in the day panning for gold during the Klondike Gold Rush. This was in the Yukon Territory way back in 1898. Here's a photo of the Swedish supermodel Lisa Fonsegrives. She's at the Eiffel Tower way back in 1939. Here's a photo of a very young and beautiful Dolly Parton. This picture was taken back in the 1960s. Here's a photo of Eric Robot with its inventor taken in 1928. Here's a shot of an ironworker balancing himself on a beam. He's up 15 floors high. This was taken at the GE building, part of Rockefeller Center, back in 1932. Back in 1939, a British inventor named Charles Lawson came up with something pretty amazing. He built a 7-foot-tall robot and called it Superman Dennis. Pretty cool, right? This photo was taken in New York on Broadway back in 1952. Here's a photo of John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy, taken in 1953. This is Lucille Ball, and back in the 1930s she was a blonde bombshell. You know, she was once called the greatest pair of legs on Broadway. Pretty high praise. Here's what we've got. This is a really fascinating photo. It shows a Japanese woman from the 1900s. She's carrying her children in a bucket balanced on her head. You know, it's amazing to see the ingenuity and strength of people from that era. It gives you a real glimpse into life in Japan back then. Here's a shot of a girl jumping. This photo was taken way back in 1959. Here's a look at Lost London. We're in Chinatown and then over to Limehouse. This was all taken in London, back in the year 1927. Oh wow, check this out. This is Sigourney Weaver's high school yearbook photo. It says, "Please, God, please don't let me be normal." And it's from 1967. Here's a photo of a young Confederate soldier, dating back to 1861. Okay, here we go. Boy meets girl, simple as that, right? A classic story. Alright, this photo shows a telepath trying to hypnotize a chimpanzee. This picture was taken all the way back in 1941. A spray tan vending machine, and get this, it's from 1949. Can you believe it? This is Olivia Hussey back in 1968. Here's a Ford Model T from the early 1920s. Here's a picture of a man feeding Pete the squirrel outside the White House back in the year 1922. Here's a look at some amazing behind-the-scenes photos of Julie Andrews from the making of Mary Poppins. These shots are from 1964 and they're just incredible. Alright, check this out. This is Salvo, a paradog. Can you believe it? These brave dogs were actually dropped behind German lines way back during World War II to help out the Allied troops on D-Day. Their job? To sniff out mines. Alright, check out this fun one. It's Wally Kilminster having a grand old time in a foam bath with his dog. This was back in 1934 and they were actually in the dressing rooms at Wembley Stadium. Looks like they were having a blast. Here's a neat old picture. It shows Niagara Falls frozen back in the year 1912. Here's a picture of a young coal miner. He's working at the Turkey Knob mine in West Virginia. This photo was taken way back in 1908. Alright, this photo shows someone trying to hear the whispers up in London's St. Paul's Cathedral back in the year 1950. This photo captures a stylish family outing from 1946. Two Boys in London, taken in 1902. This is a photo of the most decorated dog from World War I. It was taken around 1920. It's a shot of Alfred Hitchcock and MGM's Leo the Lion. This was taken in 1958. Here's Audrey Hepburn being completely goofy in front of the camera. Isn't she just the best?